Jason and the Argonauts is an ancient Greek myth that tells the story of Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece. The story begins with Jason's uncle, King Pelias, who seizes the throne in Iolcus and sends Jason on a seemingly impossible quest to retrieve the Golden Fleece from the distant land of Colchis. Jason, determined to win back his kingdom, assembles a group of brave and skilled heroes to aid him on his journey. Among them was the mighty Heracles, who was renowned for his strength and agility, Aeëtes and Calais, sons of the north wind Boreas, the famed musician Orpheus, and many other legendary men. Together, they set sail on a magnificent ship, the Argo, and thus begins their incredible journey. Their first stop is in the island of Lemnos, inhabited only by women. These women had angered the goddess Aphrodite by not worshipping her, so she cursed them with terrible body odor. Their husbands abandoned them due to their stench, leaving the women humiliated and furious. In retaliation, they murdered every male on the island and lived with their queen. Enamored by the presence of the Argonauts, the women welcomed them and provided them with supplies for their long voyage. The Argonauts then traveled to the land of the Doliones, where they were warmly received by King Aeëtes and his people. However, the king failed to warn them about the earthborn monsters who attacked them while the Argonauts gathered supplies. Despite the oversight, Heracles courageously repelled the monsters until Jason and the others returned. After defeating the monsters, they set sail again, only to be brought back to the land of the Doliones by a twist of fate. After failing to recognize his friends, the Argonauts, King Aeëtes mistook them for enemies and led an attack against them with his men. This led to a chaotic situation and ultimately resulted in the death of King Aeëtes. As the sun rose, both sides came to the realization of their mistake and, with heavy hearts, held funeral rites in his honor, and the Argonauts continued on their journey. As the Argonauts passed the Bosphorus and reached Thrace, they encountered a strange sight, involving an old blind man being attacked by winged creatures while he tried to eat his meal. Jason and his friends came to the man's rescue and learned that his name was Phineas, a former seer cursed by Zeus and tormented by the Harpies. Phineas offered to tell them what lay ahead in their journey if they help him get rid of the Harpies. Two members of the Argonauts, Aeëtes and Calais, who had the ability to fly, agreed to help and eventually chase away the Harpies. Grateful for their assistance, Phineas warned them of the upcoming dangerous task of crossing the Symplegades and advised them to release a dove to test the safety of the passage. As the Argonauts reached the Symplegades, they were horrified to see two enormous rocks constantly clashing in a narrow strait, rarely allowing anything to pass between them. Following Phineas' advice, Jason released a white dove and anxiously waited to see if it would make it through unharmed. Thankfully, luck was on their side, as the dove flew through without any trouble. Eager to follow, the Argonauts sailed towards the rocks and just narrowly managed to pass through. As the ship cleared the rocks, they began to close in, but thanks to the intervention of goddess Athena, the cliffs were held apart, allowing the Argo to reach the calm waters of the Aeneas Pontus safely. Finally, they reached the land of Colchis, where the Golden Fleece was guarded by a fierce dragon named the Sleepless Dragon. King Aeëtes, the ruler of Colchis, sets Jason an impossible task to obtain the fleece. He must yoke a pair of fire-breathing bulls, plow a field, sow it with dragon's teeth, and then defeat the warriors who spring up from the teeth. Against all odds, Jason succeeds with the help of the sorceress Medea, Aeëtes' daughter, who falls in love with him and aids him in obtaining the Golden Fleece. Aeëtes was furious that Jason had completed the impossible tasks and refused to give him the fleece. The Greeks returned to their camp, but that night, Medea sneaked out to meet with Jason. She promised to help him steal the fleece if he agreed to marry her. Jason agreed, and they went to the grove where the fleece was kept. The Golden Fleece was hung in a tree in a small garden and protected by the sleepless dragon. Orpheus and Medea worked together to lull the beast to sleep, while Jason carefully took the Golden Fleece. They quickly returned to the Argo and set sail to escape King Aeëtes, who would pursue them when he discovered their deception. As they fled, the Argonauts were chased by Aeëtes and his army, but Medea's powers protected them and ensured their safe escape with the Golden Fleece. Medea's powers caused the pursuing ships to collide and sink, allowing the Argonauts and Medea to successfully return to Iolcus. There, Jason reclaimed his rightful throne with the Golden Fleece. The myth of Jason and the Argonauts is a timeless tale of bravery, perseverance, and the ultimate triumph of legendary warriors. It is a story that has been retold for generations, inspiring countless adventurers and storytellers throughout history.